I see a lot of people on the lap steel Facebook and online pages asking questions about what tuning should they use when they're starting out on lap steel. Well, it really depends on the kind of music you want to play. You could use a G or D tuning, and those will work for blues or, just messing around, rock, whatever you want to do. But if you want to get the old country Hank Williams sound, it's pretty essential that you have a sixth tuning. Now, the tuning that Don Helms used on most of the Hank Williams recordings was an E6 tuning. A lot of times you'll see people recommending a C6 tuning, which is more common, and basically the intervals are the same. So either way, you could tune C6. It's a little easy. C6 has some advantages because you can be as concerned about the string gauges, and string gauge is really important no matter what tuning you're doing. So you have to kind of, keep that in mind. I have a Gibson Double 8. This is the Gibson Console Grand. And this is the same model that Don Helms played on most of the Hank Williams tunes. His was a mahogany or dark or whatever they call it finish. This is, I guess, a maple. But you don't have to have this kind of guitar in order to sound good enough for Hank Williams songs. You really can do it with a 6-string guitar. These are both 8-string necks. And this is the E6 tuning. But you can really just forget about the low 2 strings and if you have a 6-string lap steel, that'll work. But what you need to do is get the right string gauges. So I'll mention that now here. I'll just have to open up my phone here to get it. So the tuning is G sharp, E, C sharp, B, G sharp, E. And that's all. If you just have a 6-string lap steel, that'll work. And the G sharp is an 11 gauge string. The second string, the E, is a 15. The third string, C sharp, is an 18. The B string is 22. G sharp is 26, and E is 34. So if you just have a 6-string lap steel, you could use those gauges and tune it up with the G sharp on top. So from low to high, it would be E, G sharp, B, C sharp, E, G sharp. And what you've got is the E and the G sharp on top. And the G sharp is the third of the chord. So basically you got root, third, fifth, and then the sixth is the third string. And then the second and first strings are the root and the third again. So when you play with and even if you use a C6 tuning, the intervals are going to be the same. You're just going to start on a C instead of an E. But you have to use different gauge strings in order to use the C6 tuning. So if you go to a string merchant like juststrings.com or anybody that sells lap steel strings, you'll see they'll sell strings and you'll see what gauges they use for the C6 tuning. But to play the Hank Williams style, play Hank Williams music and in the style of Don Helms, who was the steel player on most of his famous recordings, it involves a lot of what are called dyads, which just means 2 notes. So in other words, you're doing a lot of 2-note things, and you just have to kind of mess around and find those 2 notes. So you're playing a lot of partial chords. So here's just a quick example. Now there at the end I'm playing 3 notes. But so when you're playing a 6th tuning, you have to watch out for the 6th sound, which is the 3rd string. So if you just avoid the 3rd string, you can get a straight triad. But if you include the 3rd string, kind of just plays itself. So I hope this is helpful and have fun. If you like Hank Williams, this is a way to, play that kind of music.